And you are watching another edition of Blewetts Blitz. Hopefully I can get you guys listening to it again too. Got shut out from like the podcast or to put it on podcast. But if you want to go and put in Blewetts Blitz to your Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all that stuff, I should be having that back up and running relatively soon. Got a little bit shorter of a live stream today, so I got until about 4 or 5:30. So make sure to load up the questions and stuff, whatever you want answered, discussed, all that. As usual, my streams are always so crazy with the times. Typically, they've been on Tuesdays. I've been a little bit better about getting them done on Tuesdays shortly after the game is done. But you guys know, obviously, I'm not able to just lock down time necessarily. But with all that being said, 27-24 victory for the New York Jets against the Atlanta Falcons. They've won 3 out of their last 5 games after starting 0-7. So nice to see improvement. And I get people saying that, hey, the Jets are playing backup quarterbacks, but you also have to acknowledge that the Jets are playing with a backup quarterback. You know, whether it be Fields, who's a backup level quarterback, or Tyrod, who's actually a backup level or a backup quarterback, they're playing with the same thing, right? So realistically, I think the Jets had a quarterback. They are an average level team. Like, remove quarterbacks from every team in the league, I think they're more average than they are bad. And you saw some of it, you know, in this game. Some of the talent is really showing out. Obviously, special teams. Nania put up an article recently on JetX or Twitter or whatever it was, basically with like DVOA numbers and whatever else it is. The Jets are one of the better special teams unit, not of just this year, of all time. Like, they are, I think they're top 3 of all time right now in terms of some of their numbers. So special teams has been great. Obviously, Isaiah Williams went from being an absolute bum to being great. Kenny Nwanu is a great returner when he's healthy. So that's been money. The punter's been great. Nick Folk has been amazing. The coverage units have been amazing. So that led to the Browns win. It won the game, the Falcons, a little bit too, with the muff punt and being able to recover it. So credit to those guys. Offensive line was all pretty good. I would say this was Membu's worst game. One of the worst games, at least bottom 2 or 3. He's been very good. I do think he's been a little bit overrated by Jets fans, and just being honest, I think he's been very, very good. I don't think he's been like all pro level player yet, and people kill me for that. But again, I'll just be honest with you guys. There's been some times he's laying up some pressures and things like that, regardless of the numbers. I think he's still been good. Like, I think he's number 8 or whatever it was last week in terms of all tackles. So not just the right tackles, left tackles and right tackles. He's like number 8. So that would make you assume like he's a top 5 right tackle in the league. Can I adjust and say he's like a top 10 right tackle in the league instead of top 5? And I know it's being nitpicky, whatever. I'm just being honest with what I see from him, which is still great. Rookie year, you're a top 10 right tackle. Like, that's ridiculous. I do think he'll be an all pro level player. But the offensive line played well. AD Mitchell had whatever it is, 6 catches, 7 catches for 100 yards. And the funny thing is too, like, people are so stat based where they won't recognize AD Mitchell for the 2 games he had prior to this because of, well, obviously drops didn't help him, but drops or missed throws or guys not targeting him. Like, the last game, just in terms of route running and being open, I was actually more impressed with AD Mitchell last game than I was this game. And people think I'm crazy for saying that. It is what it is. I don't care. Great game this game, but I was just as impressed, if not more impressed, last game. So he's been very, very good for the Jets. Mechie, if you guys are diehards, you guys know I've been saying it since he got signed or traded to the Jets. When I did the review, like, his hands need to improve. Regardless of, I don't think the drop numbers are overly high for Mechie, but he pretty consistently, or not consistent, not pretty consistently, too often he catches the ball with his body. We saw that a few times in this game. He dropped the dig, he dropped the drag, and he dropped the ball on the sideline, which he just poor effort to get back to the ball. It was a little bit behind him. And instead of trying to like drop his weight and catch it with 2 hands, he just puts out one hand and it hits his hand, and then that's it. So Mechie's got to improve, but still he's been impressive. Mason Taylor's been impressive. Ruckert's been good as a blocker. Like, listen, I get before the games, like my head is always, okay, lose the game, but battle and show some good improvement, but lose and get the draft pick. But realistically, like, I'm more indifferent to it at this point. There's a reason why so many quarterbacks the first, second quarterback of the draft, first, second quarterback every year don't work out. And it's not because of the quarterbacks, it's because of the organizations that developed them, right? So like, if the Jets got Josh Allen, does he work out? Probably not. If the Jets get Lamar Jackson, does he probably work out? Probably not. If the Ravens get Sam Darnold, does he work out? Probably. If the Bills get Sam Darnold, does he work out? In that instance where they were in their life cycle? Yeah, probably. So it's more about their organization. So I get wanting the top overall pick, but it's a thing where you need to be a good organization first, with good coaching, good structure, all that stuff to develop a quarterback. If you're a shit organization, if the Jets were as shitty as they were in the beginning of the year, 0-7, looking like the worst team I've ever seen, and then you put a quarterback into that situation, even if he was God's gift to earth, he would still suck and the Jets would still lose. It wouldn't matter. So the most important thing is building up the infrastructure. I think learning how to win is a little bit overstated. I do. But in general, I want to see them be competent. So I'm confident in them developing a quarterback, because if they were, again, as shitty as they were the first 7 weeks of the season and they got the number 1 overall pick and they drafted whatever quarterback it was going to be, I wouldn't be confident. Like, I wouldn't be like, oh yeah, this guy's going to work out. Like, they're a shitty organization. So the fact that they're winning games that they're supposed to, the fact that they went into Baltimore and competed in almost, were in that game late until the fumble by Brees, the Pats game, a few plays here and there, they're in that game, so like, it's not, I'll give them credit for the Ravens and Pats game. The earlier games in the season where people are trying to say, like, oh, they weren't blown out. The Dolphins game, they were blown out. I'm sorry. They were down by 2 touchdowns most of that game and then barely got to a 1-score game, onside kick, whatever. They weren't really in that game for much of it. Bucks game, same thing. Cowboys game, blown out. Bills game, blown out. It was gross. It really was. So but with that being said, I'm not going to give them credit for that stuff early in the season because people were reaching for that shit, to be honest. Pats game, I'll give them credit. The Ravens game, I'll give them credit. They beat the Falcons. They beat the Bengals. They beat the Browns. But screw it. Like, let's go win 2 of the next 3. Like, I would love to see the Jets win. Why not at this point, really? If they need to get a quarterback, they'll get the quarterback, but beat the Dolphins, beat the Saints, and then steal one against, one of the Jags, who are solid, but I don't think they're anything great. The Pats or the Bills, I would love to see the Jets beat the Saints. Obviously, I would like to see them go 5-0, but give me Saints, Dolphins, and knock the Bills out of the playoffs week 18. Like, they'll find their quarterback somehow. Let's say hello to some people in the chat. Just kind of got through, not a planned monologue, but let the chat fill up and say hi to some people. Again, I got until about 5:27, we'll call it. I just recorded my full length show, the film review, and then I did the short film review. I got my live stream now, and I got Jake's show at 5:30. So, but I wanted to fit the stream in. So here we are. Let's say hello to some people. What's up, Todd? What's up, David? Do you think these wins are more encouraging than the Gase 2019 wins? Yes. Now, bringing myself, like, rewinding 6 years in the past, like, do I remember exactly how they were winning those games and stuff? Not necessarily, but they were winning those games with guys like, Frank Gore and Rashad Perryman and whoever else who are not going to be here. Like, they're winning these games because of some of the young talent, the A.D. Mitchells, the John Mechie's of weeks past. Will McDonald had a good game in this game. Some of the young corners, they're winning the games because of they're winning because of good offensive line play. They're winning because of Breece Hall. So, like, and again, it's hard to rewind 6 years, but they're winning because of youth at this point, which is nice. And I was going to say special teams, but and that's fine too. Like, Banjo's going to be here next year. Now, I believe, I'm not 100% sure, I think special teams, in terms of the efficiency of it, like, year after year, it's always a little bit volatile, like bouncing up and down. But you're hoping that after this year, they can continue to stay where they're at and at the top of the league. Isaiah Williams should be able to be here. He seems to like New York, and I don't think he's going to get a ton on the open market. And Nagwanu, we'll see. He may get some money, but then you have the injury stuff. So maybe they're back, next year. Siggers is a huge part of it. He'll be back. He's under contract, right? This is his second or third year. I think this is his third year. So he's another year under control next year. I could be wrong. This could be a second year, but I believe it's his third. This is like the second game recently we won by special teams. I would say Browns was like purely special teams. I would say this game was largely assisted by special teams because of the muff punt. And obviously the Isaiah Williams 83-yard return. So yeah, it's a big part. It's a part of it, no doubt. which like the Browns game felt a little empty, to be honest, because like, hey, we got two kick return and a punt return for a touchdown and nothing else really happened great in that game. But did you imagine Stiggers would become this good of a gunner? Not, like right off the jump, I was like, okay, him coming out of the CFL, he's going to be a great gunner. No, to be honest. But with that being said, I think a lot of special teams is a mindset thing. And I think that's why Banjo has these guys playing so well, because they're super committed to it. Look at a guy like Justin Hardy, like never the most athletic guy in the world, never the most powerful guy in the world, but had a super want to. And he was great at special teams. Look at Stiggers, same thing. He has that want to, and that's what you need on special teams first and foremost. And he's been coached well, and he wants to be great at it, and he's been great at it. So credit to Stiggers. Like, for I don't know what he was, a 5th, 6th round pick, 7th round pick, whatever he was. If you get a really good gunner or just a special teams contributor as a late round pick, that's a hit in the NFL draft. Now, obviously, we want it to be 4th, 5th, 6th round, whatever it is, Alvin Kamara type player, Michael Carter II or whoever, but realistically, that's a hit. Like Stiggers has been a huge hit because of how good he's been on special teams. So credit to him. This is the week to be stressing about fantasy. I'm in 5. I got to get out of at least one next year. I'm going to be in 3 out of the 5. The 4th I'll be in if I win this week or another guy loses. So it's a win and in for me. But bench one full PPR. The problem is I have to know who these teams are playing. On like matchups, Shakir over DK, no, unless Rodgers is not healthy. Jacoby Myers, Jaguar, he got a touchdown this week. T. Higgins, I don't know who they're playing. I would say pretty much immediately get Shakir out of there. DK, Jacoby, T. Higgins. Jacoby, don't know. New team. I'll probably be between DK or T on that, but it depends on the matchup. What's up, Beloved Peace? With the possibility of only Mendoza coming out, what do you think the Jets do in the draft 2026? Do you trade the farm for the first pick to get Mendoza? Wait until 2027. If I had to bet right now, I think Mendoza and Moore come out and Simpson goes back. Based on the last 3 weeks of Simpson, he struggled. I still have to watch the last 2 games just because I've been super busy. So I watched the first 7 or 8 games of him. I haven't watched the last 2. So I will watch those, but he's definitely been struggling. So I think Ty Simpson is playing himself out of the top 10 a little bit. So he may go back to school. We'll see though, because I think he's 23 going to 24, 24 into 25. I think he's 23 going to 24. So he may even come out, and then you might get Simpson as a late first round draft pick. Like you might not even draft him in the top 10 and draft him with the Colts pick at whatever it is. I don't think you just I don't think you just trade up to trade up. Like I don't think it's like, hey, okay, we're lukewarm on Mendoza. Let's trade 3 first round draft picks or 2 first round draft picks plus our pick 8 or whatever it's going to be to land him. You have to have conviction. He's going to be a very good player. So you don't just do it to do it. So if you don't do that, I think you need to grab a quarterback again, we'll see what happens. Pro days, guys playing the college football playoffs, etc. And they'll either rise or fall. But if you don't grab a guy in the early first round, I think you grab a guy in the late first, early second rounds. I don't think you just completely pass on a quarterback this year. And I don't think you force it, but if they can grab a guy in the second round and they can develop him and they're confident in him going forward, then cool, that's your guy. If not, it's a premium pick, but it's not like it's the first overall pick. If you waste 37th pick on a quarterback and you think he sucks and you're in a good spot for a quarterback next year, you grab him. I'm not going to lose my mind about it. So I would bring in a quarterback in the first 2 rounds, bare minimum. I'm not going to trade the farm for Mendoza if they don't love him. And me personally, tell me right now, Jets pick at 7. All these guys go back, and you have to trade 2 first or 3 first round draft picks to get the Mendoza. I'm not doing it. Even if I had to trade 1 first round draft pick to get Mendoza, I'm probably not doing it. If the Jets did and they have conviction, fine, I'm with him. Go team. I personally wouldn't, but that's on them. I'm not just forcing quarterback to force quarterback this year. With that being said, you kind of need something in the first 2 rounds. So we'll see. Is it Mateer? Is it dude from USC? Is it who is it going to be? I don't know. We'll see what happens to the rest of the draft, but Folk, McNamara, Kenny, Williams, all easy re-signs. Yeah, I think Kenny is relatively easy because he's injured. Williams is a guy who was picked up, I believe, from the Bengals practice squad. So you might have more competition for him because of what he's done, but he seemingly really likes New York. So hopefully he'll re-sign. Folk, yeah, maybe 42, right? McNamara. What's his contract? Austin McNamara. I don't know how to spell his name, to be honest. I don't know if I've ever heard to spell Austin McNamara. He's on a 2-year deal. He signed in March 2025, 2-year deal. So he's under contract next year anyway. So it's Folk, Williams, and Kene. I believe are all have to be re-signed, but they're all relatively easy. Todd, what young player do you think could steal a starting spot in the next 4 or 5 games? Are you talking about for 2027? That's what I'm going to take this question, Todd. Is you're taking it for 2027? I would say there's probably 2 guys who come off the top of my mind, and maybe 3. Maybe 3, but I'm going to say like 2, 2.5, 2 or 3, whatever. Let's go through the names. I'm going to say 2 because I think AZ Thomas is a starter, but I still think he has to prove out for the Jets to not grab another corner. Again, where they're in their life cycle, do I think it's absolutely necessary, even if Thomas doesn't play well? No, probably not, just based on where they are in their team life cycle. So I think he is playing for a spot, but he'd have to be really, really bad to not get that spot. I think he's kind of a shoe-in for it. So he's kind of like a half to me. Past that, I would say Briggs. Like Briggs continuing to improve may deter the Jets from signing a D tackle or drafting a D tackle in the first, second, third round, and then he retains that spot. So I think Briggs is playing really well, but final 5 games he has to continue to just maintain his level of play. AZ Thomas, and then I would say Malachi Moore as your other safety. Now, obviously, even if these guys suck, like there may be a situation where the Jets don't find a safety, don't find a corner or whatever, and these guys are put into a starting position regardless. But in general, I think it's those guys. I think Malachi Moore may be able to earn a role for next year. That's probably my number 1. Like, hey, this is a guy you're really looking at to see if he could be your starting level safety next year. I think AZ and Briggs are kind of shoe-ins at this point. But with that being said, I don't think they're absolute slam dunks as starters next year. So those are the guys that are top of mind. Daniel Martinez, what's up, dude? Hey, Joe, what is your take on JJ and Will McDonald been this year? Is edge play in play with the Colts first round draft pick? My take is they've been decent. Like, I think they've been decent. I think JJ has been a little bit better of a pass rusher than I imagined he would be coming off of an Achilles, but he's been a little bit worse in the run game than I remember. He used to be very, very good. I think he's solid now. He's plus average, but he has not been absolute money in the run game. Now, you have him under contract next year. Second year removed from injury, so I think he'll be better. So he's fine. Like I'm completely comfortable with JJ as your starting defensive end, strong side defensive end. He's a good run stuffer. He's a decent pass rusher. Okay, I'll sign the dotted line for JJ. Love the mindset, all that stuff. Will McDonald disappears a little bit at times, and specifically versus good competition. This was a good week for him because Jake Matthews is a pretty solid starting left tackle. I think Nania put up a tweet or an article about it, like breaking it all down and stuff. And I just did the review on Will McDonald. He had a good week, 3 or 4 quarterback hits, whatever it was. He had the screen play where he tackled Bijan, where he recognized the screen was a really nice play. He had a run stuff. He had a chase down from behind for a run stuff. So he had a pretty good game in this game. But with that being said, he's a little bit like not a tweener, but I don't love him on rundowns. So to me, he's a guy you kind of want in more of a specialty role, which for a first round pick is not obviously ideal. To me, you don't have to find like a starting level defensive end. Like you don't have to go out there and draft the guy in the end of the first round or splurge, blow your load in free agency on an edge. Now, obviously, if there's an opportunity to where you love the D end in the first round, you're not going to skip on him. If there's a D end who, for whatever reason, wants to come to the Jets or you think is a bargain of a price, and you sign him, fine. But in general, I think you need more of like a high level backup run stuffer type to add to this group. So I think it's more depth. Like I don't love having Watts, Clemens, Barron as your DN 3, 4, 5. I'm okay with the starters, but I would like to add like a quasi starting like sub guy for McDonald in terms of the run game. Is it in play though? Yeah. Like you can't say anything's out of play. I don't think there's any position that's out of play, probably minus tackle, like tackle. You're not going to see a corner probably. I'm sorry. I was actually sick a few days ago. I'm getting over something, but who cares? I'm just saying I'm going to cough a little bit. But yeah, so wouldn't rule it out. It's not a priority to me. Like edge is more of a secondary need to me, where the primary needs for me right now are like safety, safety, linebacker, receiver, guard, interior offensive lineman. And then the secondary needs are more like, edge, maybe a depth defensive tackle, stuff like that. But I wouldn't say it's out of play with the first round pick. Again, if there's a guy there who in your draft board, however they grade guys, is an A, but then there's a position of need, a safety, a receiver who's only a B, take the A player, take the best player there, so not out of play. I wouldn't prioritize it though. I think they need like a rotational run stuffer type to switch out with Will McDonald, who's actually competent, and not a Clemens or a Watts or anything like that. Joe is my GOAT. I appreciate that. Chicken Jenkins. What's up, dude? Eagle, I'd like to say I'm happy the Jets won. Keep on winning and show progress and keep us away from this trap quarterback draft class. I'd much rather sign a vet for another year, even though I'm not naive. New York will. Yeah, we kind of talk about this a lot. Don't force a quarterback. Again, I would draft one, whether it be late first, second, really early third, something like that, just so you're taking a shot on a guy. But I'm not forcing it. I'm definitely not forcing it. You just got to hope that all these guys come out, and hopefully they can grab one of Simpson, Moore, or Mendoza. Or another guy who really balls out the rest of the college football season. So we'll see. Another live podcast with Joe. Look forward to your insights in the game. Appreciate that, dude. What is up, Neil from Cali? George Lucas. Like the George Lucas? You don't look like the George Lucas, but I don't want to judge. Yeah, I'm with you, Mason Taylor. And he was open on that one play. Was that the reverse? Was that the reverse flea flicker? I think that was the reverse flea flicker. And Tyrod just put the ball too far outside. Mason Taylor did a good job of like blocking and then releasing vertically on the wheel or the rail route, whatever you want to call it. And Tyrod just puts the ball too far outside. If you put it outside but let him, you're talking about a chunk gain. He put it too far outside. Mason Taylor did misjudge it a little bit, but overall, yeah, I agree with the sentiment of like get him the ball more. He's been very, very good for the Jets. So that's been good. It's been great. Bet you had a bad game, but I liked what I've seen from before the Falcons game. I want to win the Dolphins game and take them out and take them with us out of the. I don't think they're gonna get there regardless, but in general, I hate the Dolphins. Like I don't like Dolphins fans at all. I hate Dolphins more than the Pats. I hate the Dolphins more than the Bills. So I would love the Jets to beat the Dolphins. Again, beat the Dolphins, beat everybody. I'm okay with winning 5 in a row. Like if that's what they're gonna do, great. At this point, I think I've changed my tune and just win. I'm okay with just winning. And see what happens from there. I can't root for losses. Especially when the game starts, like I start to root for it. That Nick Folk field goal, like I asked myself in the moment, like, do I want to make this? I was like, yeah, I do. So win games, prove that you're a legit team, and then get your guy. If you're going to be a shitty 0-17 team, then whatever quarterback you draft is not going to work out regardless. So this is Eagle, you agree with me. And I think you live in Florida, so that's probably why. Key to the Dolphins game is running and throwing the ball to Brees to set up big down the field kill shots. AD Mitchell tackling, guys like Waddle, is big in this game. A-chain tackling is massive. Can't miss tackles. So stop message of it. Yeah, third and long. Yeah. If we are picking in the 6-11 range, are there any quarterbacks you'd be willing to trade up for, or would you pick another position? If so, what positions? I'll be honest, like I need to finish my evals on these guys to say if I would trade up. If I'm at 6 and there's 3 quarterbacks coming out and I only need to get rid of like a second round pick to get up, yes. It's kind of dependent on the price. Are they at 6 and there's 3 guys available and I'll have to get rid of a second? Are they at 11 and there's only 2 quarterbacks available and I have to give up 2 first round draft picks? So the 6 to 11 range, there's a wide range of 6 to 11 is a massive gap because you're talking about, obviously 5 picks, but it's a lot in the beginning of the draft. And then who are the quarterbacks to come out? I would be okay with trading up, especially if they have conviction. I would trade up minimal. I would trade up a second round pick for a guy like Mendoza or a guy like Moore, even maybe a big guy like Simpson. I got to see how bad those 2 games truly were. And I also got to see him the rest of the college football season. I'll be willing to trade something, not a lot though, to be honest. And it kind of depends again on who comes out, where exactly are they. If they warrant to get a quarterback in that spot, Do I know the rest of the top 10 like well enough to be like, oh yeah, I want this guy or that guy or whoever else it may be? No, not necessarily. It seems like there's a lot of receivers up there. So I would probably eye a receiver at that point in the draft, like Cardinal Tate or whoever else is up there. I would nab, and then you have a really good receiver core. If you grab, let's say, receiver X at pick 8, and he plays up to being a top 10 pick, and you have Garrett Wilson, AD is your 3, Mechie is your 4, Arian Smith is your 5, and whoever else is your 6. Like, awesome group. Mason Taylor's a starting tight end. I think it will be fine. I would like to grab another one and then have Ruckert as a tight end 3. Offensive line is obviously pretty solid, and hopefully they address the interior a little bit or re-sign guys. So you have a really solid offense if you were to grab a receiver up there. I'll probably say receiver without a quarterback, but I'm not going to force anything. If there's a great edge, fine, grab them. If you're obsessed with downs or whatever, the safety, grab them. I am much more so trying to lean offense though. In the draft and in general with the value with assets this year, big contracts in free agency, high draft picks go skew towards offense. Don't force it, but that's where I'm leaning towards offense. Where would you rank Nick Folk in your all-time Jets list right now? I've been top 15. My God, Eagle, that is a hard question to ask off the top of the head. All-time Jets. Top of my mind, like one, how do you rate them? Is it my list of all-time top 15 Jets? I'm gonna say no, probably not, because I'll say probably not. I'd have to make a list to really know, right? Like, you got plenty, you got Curtis Martin, you got Leon Washington to me. Like, I like Chris Ivory more than I ever liked Nick Folk, Bilal Powell. Like, for me, no. In terms of production, like relative to their position, you're probably right. So. Did you notice the Falcons kept kicking touchbacks to avoid? Yeah, that. And I'll be honest, like sometimes, especially when I'm in a rush to watch these games, I don't watch all the special teams reps all the time. But it seemed like the Jets are now starting to kind of stack Isaiah Williams and Kenny Nagwanu, and then they separate last second just to confuse the return team. Maybe Nagwanu's going left, maybe he's going right, because one, they're avoiding them in general, and two, they're specifically avoiding Kenny. So now they're changing it up a little bit, but yeah, no, they're dangerous, man. I like, go read Nania's, I believe it's an article. They're the best special teams unit in the NFL right now. Like, they are very, very good. And it's not just based on pure luck. Like, they are bought in. The Isaiah Williams 83-yard return, everybody was bought into their blocks. Everybody was blocking very, very well. So, awesome job with special teams. Like, hey, Banjo's a hell of a hire. And he liked my tweet like 2 weeks ago. So now I love him even more so. So, talked about JJ a little bit earlier, Eagles, so rewind it. Would love the Jets to beat the Pats. Yeah, of course, dude. I'm being real with Pats fans though. The reason I hate Dolphins fans more than Pats fans is because Dolphins haven't won a playoff game in 20 plus years, and they talk like they're the Pats. Like they're the Pats. Like, they talk like they're the best thing since sliced bread. There's better things than sliced bread. So that's why I don't like them. Let's be honest. If we won as much as the Pats did since 2000, we would be unbearable assholes too. Like, just kind of put yourself in the scenario where you had Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, and you're winning that much. We talk shit when we win a game or two in a row. Can you imagine winning 6 Super Bowls in 2 decades? We would be unbearable. So I kind of understand the Boston area, Pats fans. Bruins win, the Celtics win, the Pats win. The Red Sox have had a few World Series in the last 2 decades. I think, what, 2? Like 2015, 14, 16, and like early 2000s, or 1, or whatever it is. That area of the country wins, we would talk shit too. Like, again, the Jets beat the Falcons and we're talking shit. Can you imagine winning 6 Super Bowls? So like, I don't like them, but I don't hate them as much as I hate the Dolphins, because the Dolphins act like they're the Pats, even though they haven't won a playoff game in 20 years. Move on from JJ. If you can get a third for the guy, okay, fine, I guess. But who's your starting defensive end? Like, you're going to pick a third. You're going to pick a guy in the third, hoping he's as good as JJ, which most likely, based on success rates of third-round picks, he's probably not. So, depending on the price, like, yeah, if JJ's going to say, "Hey, I want $20 million going forward," then yeah, maybe not. Like, you don't re-sign him after next year. But past that, like, I'm not just going to get rid of a guy to open up a hole, because then you have a massive need at the end. Like, you need at the end at that point, earlier than the third round. So I'm not here to make more holes for the Jets. Kev Chada, do you think Garrett comes back before the year ends, or do you to see him with AD and Mechie? If he's 1,000% healthy, yes, you do. Like, let's say he's 100% healthy by week 16, sit him even that week to make him 105% healthy, and then play him week 17 and 18. To me, I'm more leaning towards just ride him on the bench for the rest of the year and make sure he's healthy. But at the end of the day, if he's 100%, the doctors are 100% confident in him being fully healthy, then play him. I think he ends up playing the last 2 or 3 games, if I had to say. Do you think they should move Stiggers to safety? He's better in zone than man coverage from slow runner. On top of my mind, Stiggers better in zone than man. I can't commit to either one of those, really. I do know that when AZ Thomas went down in the Browns game, Stiggers came in, and Stiggers actually played relatively well. With watching as much as I watch from college to all these games and stuff, do I know specifically if he's better in zone or man? I can't. I would be lying if I committed to either one of those. But safety, I wouldn't. Like, just because you're playing the secondary doesn't mean you could play both spots. Like, he's never played safety. Why move him to safety? I think right now he's a decent depth corner 4 or 5. Why are we trying to move him? I would like AG to take full responsibility for the way the season shaped out from the start. Many knew Justin Fields was a waste of time. Tyler should have been the starter from the start. I get it. I do. They wanted to throw a dart. That's all it was. I'm assuming if you asked Aaron Glenn prior to the season, is Justin Fields going to be your long-term starter? If he's not, you get shot in the face. He's probably going to say, yeah, he's not our long-term starter. I think that, again, the Jets saw a guy with a 5% shot to work out long term, whereas nobody else in free agency had that opportunity or had that percentage chance to work out because they're all older or whatever. They took a shot on him. He didn't work out. I'm okay with the swing. I think they overpaid him, but I said it from the jump. Like, even though I don't think it's going to work out, I understand the swing on him because there's nobody else out there who could potentially be long term. Justin Fields came out and dominated this year and somehow turned it around. Then he's your long term guy. Nobody else offered that, so you start him from the jump. I agree with that decision. Do I think they waited to bench him for too long? Yes. But the signing in general and starting him, I'm not gonna. I think that's, for me personally, I think it's unfair to blame the coaching staff. They held on to him for too long though. Rob D, what's up, everyone? Hopefully everybody had a good holiday. I got sick. My son got sick. My wife got sick. So we didn't do shit for any day of this week. Had to deal with, as you guys know, with little kids sucking boogers out of a nose and my kid's acting like I'm stabbing him. That's the worst. But that's what I dealt with all week, which really, like, I see my wife's family plenty enough. They're very close, like Italian family, so we see each other plenty. Me being able to hang out and just watch football in my house by myself, not the worst. Now, dealing with a sick kid and being sick on top of it, it's not fun, but I'm generally more of a loner. Like, I'm okay with just like, hey, chill in the house and watch TV because I don't really get to just hang out and chill anymore. But like, even this show, like, I just got off of work at 8 a.m., slept from 9 to 1, and then started doing prep for the show and then doing all these shows. Like, I don't get to sleep a lot. Stairs was he was not a free agent. They drafted him. Stingers. When was he drafted though? Quantes. They definitely drafted him though. Yeah, they drafted him with the damn it. Quantes Stiggers. I think it's I think it said a 5th round pick. Yeah, 5th round pick of 2024. So this is his second year, 2024, 25. Yeah, 20. So he has 2 more years over control, but not a free agent. He was in the draft. Yeah. Everybody's saying it now. Thank you for correcting. Speaking of Rodgers, and the media is very silent about bashing the Jets for releasing Rodgers the way that, yeah, dude, like, realistically, it was the right move, and I was with it from the jump. And obviously, there's audio and recordings of me every week. I was not for bringing Rodgers back, and now he's injured. Now he's throwing Steelers players under the bus, like he's throwing Jets players under the bus. Can never just blame himself. It's always somebody else's fault. his EPA and all that stuff. Like I think he's in terms of like statistically like a bottom 5 quarterback in the NFL right now. The Steelers, who will win 10 games with Mason Rudolph, are 6-6 with Rodgers. 6-6 with Rodgers. So yeah, there's a reason he moved on. He was not good last year. I'm not saying it was all his fault, but acting like he was a solid quarterback with a bad team was also a reach as well. He was a below average quarterback with a bad team, so he looked awful at times, or even average with a bad team. Like he was not even good. He was not good last year. I thought he'd be better with the Steelers maybe, but I definitely did not want to bring him back. And Devontae Adams, it was for what? To win an extra game or two? Like maybe the Jets win. I don't know. The Broncos game with Rodgers as a quarterback, but like, okay, sweet. Now we're 4-8 with $50 million in the cap. Like, no. So yeah, goodbye. Adios, Aaron Rodgers. Now, obviously, I wanted to work out from the jump. Like, hey, you're bringing a Hall of Fame quarterback coming off of MVP years in the recent past with a stacked roster. Like, it was not the wrong move to bring him in. To retain him this year would have absolutely been the wrong move. It would have been. I don't even care if he was better this year. I think even if he was average and the Steelers were 8-4 instead of 6-6, I'll be saying the same thing. It just where the Jets were with their team life cycle, it was not worth it. We're going to blow your load to win 8-9 games, take on $50 million of cap from him and Devontae, and have to find a quarterback next year. Like, why? You're just kicking the can down the road to win a few games. It just would not. It was stupid in my opinion, and they made the right move. Slow runner. I agree with Joe. Mendoza is not worth trading up for. He's not generational. Well, okay. Can I say that the word generational is overused? It's way too much. The only generational quarterback I've seen come out who's generational in college, and I'm not saying Joe Burrow wasn't a very good quarterback. He was not to Andrew Luck's level. Andrew Luck is the only generational quarterback I've seen come out since I've been like watching football. So they don't have to be generational for you to trade up. If Mendoza had a higher ceiling, I'd be more willing to trade up for him. But in general, no, I'm not willing to trade up for Mendoza, who I think best case scenario is like sniffing a top 8 quarterback, which you can win with, but he lacks athleticism. He can move. Is he Peyton Manning? As a mover, no, but he's not Zach Wilson in terms of moving. And again, just moving. He's not Justin Fields. He's not any one of these guys. He's an okay mover. His arm is okay. You have to throw off platform. It's not pretty all the time because he doesn't have like great athleticism. So I'm not trading up for Mendoza unless it's, whatever. He's on the board at 3 and the Jets are pick 6 and they trade like a second and a fourth or something like that. Like fine. But am I trading like multiple first round picks to get up and get him? No. Every year people want to trade up everything for one player. So lazy, come and take. Yeah, I'm not doing it. Now it depends on what about Drew Lohr in the 4th round from Slow Runner? It seems like everything I'm seeing on Drew Lohr is he might be undrafted. So 4th round, I would have to watch him. Like realistically, Slow Runner, I know you've been in here. I'm not a guy just like, yeah, I'm down with it because in my PFN or PFF mock draft, he's there. So that must mean he's worth the pick. So I can't comment on it. If he's worth a 4th round pick, fine. Do I think it's a little bit late to wait for a quarterback? Yeah. Like I'd rather draft a guy in the 1st or 2nd than the 4th. 4th seems like it's a dart throw. I want a little bit more investment into quarterback. So I would say most likely he's probably a later round pick based on what I'm seeing. And I think that's waiting a little bit too long to draft a quarterback. So in general, I'd say no to that question. But, I say that every single draft year, and I'm going to say it again. 98% of what you guys hear about people's opinions of players is based on where these guys fall in their PFN mock drafts. Oh my God, Arian Smith, every mock draft was available in the 6th round of my PFN mock draft simulator, the draft in the 4th round. What did it reach? It's what it is. I'm sorry. These guys are not watching. I can't. The draft pisses me off every year because last year I heard that Memba was a better run blocker than pass blocker. And if you said that, you're just an idiot. Either 1, you didn't watch, or 2, you don't know what you're watching. And those are the only solutions. Those are the only answers. If you said that, that's one of those 2 things. Didn't watch, don't know what you're watching. So you had what's that website? Whatever website had Evan Neal as their number 1 player in the entire draft. I was like, I wouldn't touch this dude until the 4th round. And now look at him. He's a guard. He's a complete bust. So you'll get some podcasters like, yeah, Drew Lohr, he would reach in the 4th round because of this simulator. I'm being a dick, but it is very frustrating to see people be like, oh yeah, I love this guy in the 4th round. And they've literally not watched a play of him. Maybe a YouTube highlight. I always get a little pissy around draft time when I see people have such strong opinions on guys that never watch. It drives me absolutely bananas. K. Delgado, the Jets play complementary football, and that's why they won. Salah's teams could never complement each other. Yeah, like, obviously, let's see. We won 3 games. Let's wait. And realistically, like, the defense wasn't great this game. 24 points to the Falcons. They got gashed by Bijan Robinson. Kyle Pitts by design, like being schemed up, gashed them too. So, like, I don't think the defense had a great game. The offense was stagnant until the second half. So we'll see how well they continue to complement each other. I wouldn't mind taking a flyer on a late round quarterback, even if we take one round 1. So I'm a little bit different than you on this one, Rob. I'm of the mindset of the Jets haven't developed a quarterback in 20 years. And obviously this staff has nothing to do with the staffs of the past, but still, the Jets haven't been able to develop a quarterback in 20 years. They have a running backs coach as a quarterbacks coach in Charles London. Now you want him to not only develop a quarterback in round 1, you also want him to develop a quarterback in round 6, round 5. Give him one quarterback to worry about. I don't want him to have 2 quarterbacks to worry about. That's my mindset. I don't. The Jets haven't proven enough to me where they could develop one guy. Why bring in 2? Focus 1,000% of your attention on the first round guy. Now you start worrying about the 5th, 4th round guy, whatever. That's not for me personally. Like, I just focus on one guy. Bring in Tyrod and Mike White or something as your 3. Like, I don't want to draft 2 guys. Like Grenade, hey Joe, how much does it concern you that none of these QBs operate under center all that often? Yeah, that's the thing with specifically Mendoza. Mendoza is pure shotgun. Maybe there's been a single back set that I can't remember off the top of my head, but he's like 99% shotgun, a lot of RPOs. So he's a little bit more in a gimmicky offense. How big of a difference is accuracy timing from shotgun versus under center? Footwork is huge, dude. Like, do you dovetail your drop? Are you comfortable with keeping your eyes down the field when you're dropping? Does your footwork, your cadence of it correlate with the routes timing properly? Do you rush it? Do you slow play it too much like Fields? The adding the footwork to it is there's a lot more to it than people may think. So it's a relatively big deal. Like, that's something you have to know when you're watching college quarterbacks. Like, how much are they taking drops from under center? And Mendoza does not do it at all. So that's my problem. Again, he's not a perfect prospect. He's not perfect. Like, his reads are mostly good. The accuracy is mostly good. But then you talk about, okay, RPO, heavy offense, shotgun all the time. The lack of a ceiling, in my opinion. Like, it's not a guy who I'm like, oh my God, I need to get this guy. Simpson does definitely. They definitely have, like, I don't chart these guys, so I don't know how much, but I know Simpson and Moore have. So it's not a concern to me like it is with Mendoza. Dante Moore player comp. God, I don't know. That's really hard. Like, I have to go through all the quarterbacks in the NFL and think about, like, exactly who he reminds me of. But in general, Mos Def, I don't think I've seen you much in here, unless obviously the name has just changed or whatever. I typically genuinely hate player comparisons. I do. So I don't have one on the top of my head. He's almost like a nice midpoint between Mendoza and Simpson. I think he's safer than Simpson, but he's not as high of a ceiling as Simpson, because Simpson has a better arm than Moore, in my opinion. So he's almost like a nice middle ground of, like, safer than Simpson, but not as low of a ceiling as Mendoza. So he's kind of in the middle. But in terms of, like, there's no player off the top of my head who I'm like, oh yeah, he definitely reminds me of this player in the NFL. Not right now, not on the spot. The more quarterbacks that come out this year, the better. Either it gives us a chance that, you're gonna say follow us, or I know exactly how this is gonna finish. Quarterbacks come out, Jets either can grab one, they can wait, they can trade up for less, or say 3 quarterbacks go in the top 5, and the Jets are pick 7. They're getting one of the best 4 players at the non-quarterback position, whatever that may be. So I'm with you. More quarterbacks, the better. If all the quarterbacks come out, I'm assuming, like, if all of Simpson, Moore, and Mendoza come out, I think the Jets end up right now with one of Moore, Simpson, or Mendoza. That's at this point on November, not November, December 2nd. That's what I'm saying. What if the Falcons scramble to get back picks? Do you trade our top first rounder for Drake London? No. It's if the Jets didn't have a receiver, maybe it's a discussion, but I'm not trading a top 10 pick for a receiver to then only have to pay him. Did he get paid? I'm assuming he got paid, right? Actually, maybe not. Because the Jets paid Garrett Wilson after his third year, and typically it's after the fourth year. Maybe he did get extended. I don't know. Let's see. Fifth year option. Yeah, you're talking about a legit number one receiver. He's a very good player. You're talking about paying him $30+ million plus Garrett Wilson. I would love it. Would be really, really fun because Drake London is a perfect complement to this offense because you have Garrett, who's like your slot shifty guy, explosive. You have AD Mitchell, who's your burner speed guy, your X, and you have Drake London, who could be an X too, but he's more of like the possession guy, who's a ridiculous contested catcher, probably at minimum a top 5 contested catcher in the league. To me, top of my head, it's him, it's Higgins, it's Pickens, and it's Evans. Those are the 4. Maybe there's a 5th I'm not remembering, but those are like the top 4 locks in my head for like the best contested catchers. I would love seeing Drake London. I loved him in college. But no, you can't. That's a lot to dedicate to receiver. There's not a lot of teams who do that, like just the Bengals. And I think Drake London may be better than T. Higgins, but you put Drake London as a 2 and facing all the 2s. I think he's a better right now. Drake London, T. Higgins, who's better? It's Drake London to me. Consider T. Higgins matchups. Remember, he plays 2s and Drake London plays 1s. And I'm sure their stats are somewhat similar, but Drake London's an underrated route runner. But no. Tony Adams has improved recently. Do you start him again if we don't draft the safety? No, you got to grab somebody else. He's a horrific tackler. Horrific. Now, the good thing that he allows you to do is he's a safety. You could play in man coverage versus receivers, which is nice. But he's a horrific tackler, so you can't. Now, if he was brought back and he was the Jets safety 4 next year or safety 3, like if he's a backup for the Jets next year, okay. Like I'm not going to lose my shit about it. I'm fine with that. As a starter next year, that's malpractice. Yeah, Delgado. No. You can't have it. Michael Clemens, that sack. Rush to the right guard, bull rush. And the funny thing is, he even get his arm out versus Cousins. He literally just like fell into him, like hit him with his shoulder as Cousins like he went to throw the ball to the left and pulled it for whatever reason, and then started to step up, so he was off balance, and then Clemens just bumped him with the shoulder and he fell down. So it's kind of funny, but yeah. Rob D, I appreciate Mitchell playing well, but that doesn't mean we rest our laurels and accept the receiver as is. Bryce Hall is playing fine. I'm with you. Realistically, Rob, I think that AD is your 3 and Mechie is your 4. I would not like right now. I sound obviously, they're already here, so we're not going to decide the dotted line. But in general, like, are you comfortable with AD as your 2 and Mechie as your 3 next year? No. You add something else. Now, does it have to be Drake London? No. Does it have to be a receiver in the first round? No. But does it have to be like a mid-level signing, 10, 12, 13, $14 million, or like a second round pick, in my opinion? Yes, it should be. I'm not forcing them into anything because what if guys don't want to sign here? What if the guys, when you're picking, all suck and you don't like them? Fine. In general, you have to add a 2, in my opinion. If not a 2 or 3. But like Mechie as a starter, I'm not there with him yet. I think he could be, but realistically, this game, 3 drops. And last week, if you guys watched the review, like I like him. All of his production the week prior was all scheme. It was all Tanner Engstrand. Which, hey, he operated it and he caught the ball fine, but it was much more so Engstrand than him like winning an individual matchup. So he's a 4 in my opinion. I'm okay with Mitchell being one of the top 3 because of the potential. He has stupid movement skills and he's stupid speed. So I'm okay with him being a starter. I think Mechie is to me right now is a backup. I don't want him starting. What do you think for trading for CJ Stroud? What would it take? Oh my God, man. You guys are killing the questions right now. Top 15 Jets of all time, CJ Stroud. What would it take? I don't know. 2, 3 first round draft picks, probably. Like, I'll be honest, and you guys just know I'm very transparent. I'd have to watch him more to see how comfortable I am with what's happened with his downtrend. Now he's been his first year, he was, top 10 quarterback in the NFL. This is his third year now, and he's more like mid. But with that being said, I believe the offensive line for the Texans absolutely sucks, and there's been some schematical problems. So I think you're probably talking about at least 2 first-round draft picks. Would I entertain it? Yes. Why would the Texans do that? I don't think so. So I don't think it's a realistic conversation. But I'd say 2-3 first-round draft picks probably for CJ Stroud. What has he been doing this year? Obviously, I'm looking at stats, which is stupid, but I'm just curious. What has Stroud been doing? Yeah, 11 picks or 11 touchdowns, 6 picks. Last year was 20-12, 23-5 his first year. So probably 2 first plus. Maybe not 3, but 2 plus, I would say. That's hard off the top of my head, though. Ideally, at 80 is a 3, we can get one in round 2 to be that 2. Yeah, I'm okay with round 2. If the Colts have a tough schedule coming up, if hopefully they miss the playoffs and we have pick 20 and we can grab who are some of the receivers in that range? Like Boston. I don't know what is Denzel. Is it Denzel? Boston. You have Bell. Is it Chris Bell? I've seen there like later first. I've seen who's the dude with the weird name? I forget. But I'm okay. Yeah. First or second round for a receiver or a decent receiver in free agency. I'm not saying like, again, don't go out and trade for Drake London, but if you can get like I don't know who's exactly available. But like, let's say like a Jacoby Myers is available, which I'm just saying like that level of player, like I'm okay with that. Even though the Jags just traded for him, so I'm sure they're going to extend him or he's under contract or whatever. But just like a name on top of my head of like a solid number 2. Organization is part of it, but I don't always agree that Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson would have failed with the Jets. Talent always manages. I don't know, man. There's been a lot of quarterbacks who've gone to talent always shines through. Then why did Sam Darnold not work out for the? And obviously he bounced around a little bit, but like why did Sam Darnold not work out? For the Jets. Like Trevor Lawrence is talented. Why has that not worked out? Maybe because he's with Jacksonville. His beginning of his career and they ruined him a little bit. So obviously it's hard to pin it down. Like, yeah, these guys definitely wouldn't have worked out with the Jets. Josh Allen, who needed a ton of development if he was with the Jets. I don't think Josh Allen works out. Maybe Lamar does because he's just a freak in many ways. No, so was Josh Allen, but I think Lamar probably needed less development than Josh Allen. But yeah, that's not semantics. That's just a difference of opinion. But like Zach Wilson was very talented, but he sucked. Now how much blame do you put on him, organization? Probably more so him, but it's not easy when you're with, how shitty of a team you had initially. And your quarterback coach, gets hit by a car and dies a week before the season. Obviously not ideal, but Rodgers Stroud has plateaued. I would be very wary of him. Why the Texans getting rid of him if he's so great? Yeah, that's part of the problem too. It's like, if he's great, why are they getting rid of him? Did you find it weird that that Ball played triple the snaps that Kiko played? You are right about that. And that celebration by Ball, I don't know what that was. And then getting a penalty for it. Like, you barely play. You suck when you play. Typically, you're a captain and you're doing that shit. Like, I don't know if he was. I don't think he was actually mimicking a seizure, but that's what it looked like. But like maybe like a fish out of water type deal. But stupid, dude. Like. But yeah, I think it's weird because Kiko has actually played decently well when he's in there. He's better than Ball in my opinion, and he's a guy who maybe you could be like your third linebacker. I'm not starting Kiko next year, but if he's your linebacker 3, fine. So I'd rather see him get playing time than a special teamer who, in general, is typically awful. Just take 2 quarterbacks in the first round. We never messed up that way before. Huh? Well. You're technically right. There are plenty of good safeties in this upcoming class. You can definitely find some talent post Caleb Downs if you guys are worried about the safety position. We are. Again, am I going to lose my mind if the Jets don't grab a safety? No, because realistically, I want the offense to be rounded out. I don't think they're a Super Bowl team next year. So if they bring in like a middling starter, fine. But yeah, of course, I'd like to address it. Culture wins are cool, but they only matter if you have a quarterback. Yeah, and it all ties in together, right? It's like a thing where You have to be a good organization to surround the quarterback for him to be successful, in most scenarios. But you can also acknowledge it, but like realistically, you're saying like Ball and Jasir Taylor are playing in the new culture. If they won us the game, then it would feel a little bit more empty, but it wasn't those guys winning us the game. It was more of the offensive line, Brees and guys who should be here. So it's not like, you have, I don't know. It's not like Quincy Williams, who's not going to be here, had a pick six, and that's why he won the game. You feel a little bit empty. The core, the younger core, won us this game for the most part, so it's nice. But yeah, I get what you're saying. Armaz. Let's see. I'm wishing Mechie the best overcoming cancer. Oh yeah, of course. Well, he's a Jet. 1, so yes. 2, he overcame leukemia, so yeah, I'm rooting for him, obviously. But right now, is he a starting level receiver? In my opinion, no. I think he's a good backup. Jasir Taylor, how did he look? Not good. Not good. Missed a tackle on the goal line versus Bijan. He got held. It wasn't called, of course. He missed that tackle on the screen. A little bit harder said than done on that screen to whoever that white receiver is. I don't know if is he 87? Missed a tackle there. Hard spot, but missed that one. And then also blew a coverage on the play where Azaria Thomas got that holding call in the end zone. Jasir Taylor was supposed to be on that guy, and he blew the coverage. So not good. Myers, Simpson, and ABT are all pending free agents. If you can only resign 2 of those 3, what 2 are you keeping? Oh, it's Simpson and ABT. Now, assuming these guys are for good prices, right? It's, if you're like, oh, ABT, he signed, but I didn't tell you he's here for $40 million. Like, obviously bad contract, but assuming fair contracts for all, it's Simpson, because I think he's an average starting left guard. He's definitely been worse this year, in my opinion, than the first 2 years, but he's still, I think, an okay guard. And if that's your weakest link on the offensive line, is an okay guard, then fine. ABT. The only problem with resigning ABT and Simpson is then you're kicking Tippmann back into center. Which, do you want to do that? Maybe not. So that's my only problem with signing ABT. I'm definitely signing Simpson. ABT, Myers, I'm a little bit indifferent. I like the fact that Myers he could probably get him for a lower price. I think if you re-sign him, you bring in competition for your center spot, free agency draft, and you let them compete. Because my biggest problem with ABT is probably, obviously the injuries. What does he want? And then 2, you have to flex Tippmann back into center. And then what happens if ABT gets injured and now you have to move him back to guard, you move him back to center. So I don't like moving Tippmann around so much. So I'm kind of leaning Simpson and ABT, but I'm also understanding of Simpson Myers because you keep Tippmann at right guard, and then you bring in competition for Myers at center. But ABT, I would like to sign him over Myers just because of the ceiling that he has when he is healthy. But the problem is, again, the Tippmann thing. For me to actually think Mendoza is worth it, he has to beat Ohio State. He looks very human against tough defenses. This is the one that has like 7 or 8 future NFL players on it. Yeah, it'd be big. It'd be big for him to win games versus better competition, because ready for these schools that he's played so far. And now obviously I'm missing a week or 2 here. Old Dominion, Kennesaw State, Indiana State, Illinois, Iowa. Okay. Oregon. Okay. Michigan State, Maryland, Penn State, Wisconsin. It's not like he's playing, Ty Simpson's, Georgia, Vanderbilt, Missouri, Tennessee, LSU, Oklahoma, Florida State, so Ty Simpson definitely played better competition. But yeah, this would be huge for Mendoza. This is it this week, right? Saturday. Okay. So I'm hoping that game's actually at nighttime, because I typically sleep during the day. When is that game? Indiana game, Ohio State. Let's see. Please give me a night game. Nice. 8:00. Perfect. That is prime viewing time for me. How about trading down? So many want to do the lazy thing of trading up. It kind of depends, right? Right. It's a loaded conversation. Who are they trading up for? Typically it's a quarterback. So a quarterback needy team trading to another quarterback needy team. Unless you don't love the guy, kind of, doesn't typically make a ton of sense. And if they're trading up for, let's say it's a stud player, like a stud receiver who's there, do you just want to draft him in the first place? Yeah, but I'm down. Listen, if only Mendoza comes out, or Mendoza and Moore comes out, the Jets can't grab either one of them. And they like the depth of the draft, but don't like the top of the draft. Team wants to trade up, trade down. Cool, yeah, of course. Jets have plenty of holes they can fill. Boss Girl, with their wide receiver room getting new life, would you draft a non-first round guy, Tate, Lemon, Tyson? Looking towards an elite receivers, and I think Lemon and Tate are going to be first round picks though, based on what I'm seeing. Am I passing the buck on a receiver to then hope a receiver comes out and they're able to draft in 27 in general? No. Like, grab a receiver now. Because what happens if the receivers in that class go, or the Jets aren't in a position to grab them, or whatever? Like, I'm not going to kick the can down the road for a draft that may or may not be good. Realistically, every next year's draft is better at every position. The receivers are better next year. The tackles are better next year. The linebackers are better next year. The safeties are better. And then next year comes and some of those guys go back to college. They don't produce. They get injured. And it's like, oh, this class is better. 2028 is better. Like, it always happens. So if they like a guy, I'm not kicking the can down the road because of hoping that 2027 is better when it's not guaranteed to be. Do you think Engstrand's offense needs a traditional X as more versatile guy who can do the Garrett Wilson stuff more important? Who can do? I think Mitchell is your X. I think you have your and X doesn't necessarily mean your number one receiver. I think that's a little bit. I think people overstate that. Like, oh, your X is your number one. You want him to be, but what you want is a guy with speed who can win deep, or a guy who can win with physicality in one-on-one matchups who can get off of press coverage. So I think Mitchell is your X. I think Garrett is a fine slot or Z, and then you need another slot or Z. So I think you have your X in AD Mitchell already. Okay, let's see. 4:30. Okay, I'm half an hour behind. I got to fly through some of these questions. So load them up if you want. But I'm gonna do a little bit more lightning round. Hey, from Rob. Hey, Joe, hypothetical situation. You have to trade 4 firsts for Burrow, and he will only play exactly 12 regular season games a year, but will never miss a postseason game. You doing it? No. 4 firsts for a guy who's going to miss 5 games a year, but never a postseason game. Like, are you even guaranteed at that point to get into the postseason? That's too many games missed. You're missing a third of the season. About? No. Meaning not draft those 3 first rounders, but a round 2 to 4. I get what you're saying. I'm just not passing it to hope that next year is better. People seem to have concerns about Ty Simpson's deep ball. Do you share those? Yeah, it's not consistently accurate. Or like leading guys. I would say the same thing for Mendoza though. Mendoza doesn't have a great deep ball, in my opinion. I think Moore probably has the best deep ball in terms of consistency, but I don't think it's a problem that's not applicable to a guy like Mendoza. And I maybe it's a little bit overstated with Ty Simpson's deep ball. I haven't watched the last 2 games, but in general, I don't think it's great, but I don't think it's terrible. Neil from Cali, have you watched the receivers in the draft? Basically, I have not. I don't know, Joe. Chiefs fans seem to be humble. Don't have to be arrogant jerks. 1, are you sure? 2, they haven't won as much. And 3, they're not in your division. You don't play them all the time, so you don't deal with them as much. So are you sure? I don't know. Brantmeyer was great, but good thing they finally made a change, especially in the corner. Yeah, and the special teams late fell off. I've heard some people say that Brownlee make a hell of a linebacker. Any substance to that? No. Like, he has a linebacker mentality in the box. We're not going to play him as like a straight up linebacker taking on fullbacks and stuff. You want him more as like a secondary run fitter, not as a primary run fitter. So we need revenge on what happened to the Pats or the Dolphins with the bad play calls or the bad penalties. If Dolphins belt the butt cheeks, Jets win. I think I'm reading that wrong a little bit, but 47-0. Yeah, I'm down with that. Art, what's good, y'all? Happy to catch the stream. Don't get to catch too many though. I will watch the replays. Hope the fam has been good. Yeah, just sickness and having to shove spray up a kid's nose and then suck it out is the worst, dude. Because they legitimately they think you're murdering them and they don't understand why. Tank for Ty. Ty was my QB1. I have to watch the last 2 games of him to say he still is. I don't know. He was 2 weeks ago. That's what I could say. The last 2 weeks he may have moved down to 2 or 3, but I don't know. From based on what I've watched so far, he is, but the last 2 weeks were not great. David says, do you think the possibility could be Tyrod competing with a veteran and a rookie behind? Yeah, I think it's possible. I don't think you just sign the dotted line for Tyrod as the bridge because he's injured too often. So I think if you bring Tyrod back, you have to bring in another like decent vet as your 3. I was fine ending the Rodgers experience. He was not the future. No. I assumed you were a Ty Simpson guy. Tank for Ty. I wonder why. Yeah, he was. It's just the last 2 games. Like, why did he struggle so much? 27 draft will have a bunch of good quarterback options. So was 26. It was supposed to, but it doesn't, right? So you can't I get it. I get it. But what were we saying last year at the same time? And my Jet Super fan, Klubnik is coming out, and Arch Manning is coming out, and Nussmeier is coming out, and Alar is coming out. Like, those are the top 4 guys, and now all those guys are either not coming out or going to be undrafted or mid-first round draft picks. So you don't know that. You cannot say that right now. We cannot say that. Ty Simpson's a noodle arm? No. That is unequivocally not true. I'm sorry, but you're just saying things to say things. He does not have. ABT or Simpson, would you bring either back at guard? I would bring back Simpson just because, ABT is a higher ceiling, but Simpson has been consistently healthy, and I think he's an okay player. And I'm okay with an okay player. If he's your weakest link in your line, you're a good offensive line. Chris, like, support, subscribe. Yes. Super fan, you're just exposing. Yeah, he does not have a weak arm. That is now. Is it elite? No. Is it very, very, very good? Yes. And he's a very good mover. He processes pretty well, but he forces balls a little bit at times, and he can struggle versus pressure. That's my biggest concerns versus him, is the bailing out of the pocket and getting a little bit uneasy versus pressure. But you can't question his arm. He's got an arm. Hey Joe, don't blow it. Has your opinion changed on Wilkes? He's changed it up a little bit. Like, the blitz have gotten, you got a few blitzes who got home. He's been changing up a little bit in terms of man coverage versus zone coverage on 3rd down. Do I still want him fired? Yes. Joe, players are so different. I can't do the player comp thing. That's funny though. Do we start over at linebacker? Is Sherwood tradable? His contract is not very tradable. I think he's owed like $15 million each of the next 2 years or something like that. I think it's like $30 million the team will be taking on. And based on how he's played, is a team even willing to trade for him? You're going to get like a 6th round draft pick and eat a bunch of money? I don't think so. Has he been brutal? Yes. He had a really nice tackle this game where he took on a fullback and then made the tackle on a running back. But in general, he sucked. And I'll be honest too, at times he looks disinterested, which is very disheartening. Cowboys game, loafed on the screen. There's a play this game. I forget exactly what play it was, but he didn't make the tackle, and then the pursuit after was lackluster. I don't know. He couldn't motivate me to get out of bed to take a dump. Like, the motivational speeches before the game are awful. He stole money from the Jets. I don't know. Moore has a way better arm than. Yeah, okay. I'm not just gonna start saying things. You could say it's close, way better. There's absolutely no way. There is no way. It's way better. It's not even better. I'm not even acknowledge. It's not better. Simpson has much more zip on the ball. Like, Moore can reach spots. It's just it could flutter a little bit to me. Drake London, T. Higgins. Yeah, I'm with you. Ty Simpson has a cannon, best arm strength in the class. I can't speak to the other quarterbacks, like quarterback 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Out of the top 3, he has the best arm strength. Yes. We need ball hugging. We need quality safeties. Joe, speaking of tall USC receivers, check out Mekhi Lemon's running mate, Jacoby Lane. Not saying he's Drake London, but watch the release break at the stem hands combo. 6'4". Okay. Yeah. Am I going to do a full breakdown on them? No, but maybe I'll watch some YouTube highlights like everybody else does for their scouting reports. AD did make, dude, like, if you're talking about just like purely which game was more impressive, the Pats game or this game for AD Mitchell, I'm much more process than results. Him beating Gonzalez pretty consistently in that game, I was so impressed with in the Pats game. This was a good game, obviously, but the Pats game, like if I said, hey, watch this tape watch one game of AD Mitchell to have whatever your hope level of him is going forward, I would give you the Pats game before this game. A lot of it, like he had the one DPI drawn on Terrell where he just speed released to the outside. Tyrod underthrew him. He came back to the ball, PI. And then he obviously, beat the one guy deep for the touchdown where the dude tripped, but he tripped because of the separation that AD Mitchell created. If there was no separation, he doesn't trip. So good job there by him. But then all the other plays were just like speed outs versus all coverage, really. But obviously still a good game, right? Do you think Wilkes going to have a coherent plan for defense? I don't know if it's so much. I think part of the problem with the plan is, again, the predictability on third down with man coverage. And I think part of the problem is your blitzes are not getting home. So then you're taking a guy out of coverage to then only not get home. So like in general, coherent, maybe. It's not executed very well, though. Baseline 14. What do you think about moving McDonald to outside linebacker? I don't know. He's a rusher. He's not a guy you want playing outside linebacker. He's a little bit too big, and he's not going to be like that. He's not going to be able to move like that. Well, he moves well laterally, but he's not like light enough. He's 250. Like that's a huge linebacker. Then you're taking him off the ball, and he's not doing what he does best, rushing the passer. No. I don't know what the. I see a lot of talk about it. Can somebody clear up what's the talk about the injuries? People are talking about coaches with injuries. I don't really know. The only thing I can say with coaches with injuries is obviously if a guy is saying he's 90% and you force him in there anyway and he hurts himself and it's the coach's fault. But like, I don't know I see a lot of conversations about that right now. I don't watch college like I used to. Yeah, some people are like, oh, you don't watch college football? How do you do this? It's like, I'm not paid to watch college football necessarily. Like I do the breakdowns on guys once it comes up closer and then the breakdowns after. But I watch, I'm a Devils fan. I'm a Nets fan. I'm a Mets fan. So I watch those more than college. I watch the 4 major sports. So if I was paid to do this, then yeah, I would. So I can talk about guys like Chris Bell and stuff. But, well, this is not my full-time job. I'll redact that last statement. But this is not my full-time job. This is more of like a hobby and kind of a little bit of like a side gig for me for some extra funds. But it's not my full-time. Now, when I retire in 17 years, this will be my full-time job, and I will start watching more guys. Unless I'm like, screw it. I'll do the same amount I was doing, and I just want to watch 20 more hours of Netflix and just start rewatching old series and shit. 80 is a 1 or 2 if he plays his potential. If AD Mitchell, and again, I'm going to say this slowly because people don't always reach your potential. If he reached his potential, his full potential, he's a 1. Can I say that he will? I wouldn't bet on him reaching his full potential, but do I think he could be a 2? Yeah. But am I comfortable with him next year being a 3? Yes. I want him to be a 3. 2, 2.5, 3. Right on cue. Yeah, Laken Tomlinson's a bad sign from the jump. If you guys have been here for a while, I watched this film like, why did they sign this guy for this money? NC Green, I would draft something more in a second, but I think I think if you're guaranteed to be a top 10 pick, you come out. That's my opinion. You don't get as much as NIL. What happens if you get injured? What happens if your play drops and now you're a 2nd, 3rd, 4th round pick next year? It's not worth it for an NIL deal to go back. If you're a top 10 pick, come out. I've seen some clips, Latham getting smoked. Have you seen them? I have not. And again, I haven't watched Latham. I don't know. I can tell you I liked him at Alabama a ton. Can I speak to that offense and how bad the talent is there? So may his numbers be bad? I don't know. And I'm not gonna die on a sword for Latham. Did I like him a lot in that draft? Yes. Did I like him better than Olu Fashanu? Yes, I did. It's fine. Sometimes people miss. I don't think Lamar would have. Yeah, I'm kind of with you, Art. Like, I don't think he would have been MVP level, but I think he would have been okay because like he's just a freak, dude. He's an absolute freak. Yo, Joe, let's go. What's up, Super Bowl Jets? I don't think I've seen you. I hate that like they changed it used to be your username, now it's your @. So like I don't know if I've ever seen Super Bowl Jets because I've never seen the name, but maybe he's under a name I know. I don't know. I thought Ball was mimicking a bird, like a falcon who just hit a window and can't get up. Shows you how bad it was if no one knows. That was getting a penalty for that dude. Okay, I'm just scanning through because I got to jump off in like 5. How about O-line? Who's priority number 1? Linderbaum would help it obviously it depends on a lot, like what's available on free agency. Do I think you need to pour in first round pick, second round pick, a $14-15 million contract to Simpson, and then $20 million to Linderbaum? Do I think it may be a little bit overkill to get Linderbaum? Yeah, probably. With that being said, let's say all the other free agents don't come here and Linderbaum is there, and it's like, hey, he's still a really good player, and there's not a lot else out there that we can get. I'm okay with it, but I'm not prioritizing it. Let's see Tippmann and guard. I'm for that, but it's more so because of Membu. Like, you don't want to just change guys next to each other. Like, there's camaraderie, and people talk about that for a reason. You don't want to just keep flipping, Tippmann center guard, and now Membu's playing next to a new guy. I don't love it. How come when we're talking about contracts, AUT's injuries come up? Clearly his injuries are from coaching. The coach came into the game and tore his tricep. How? What? If you're saying he got injured because he was at guard or tackle, that I can't entertain that. Now, if the coach is rushing him to play on an injury, yes, but because he switched positions, no. No. Linderbaum will command OT salary too. No, not offense tackles are making $30 million a year now, or close to it, or whatever. Linderbaum's probably closer to 20 than 30, so no. But ABT. So if I were to resign him, it would be more so of like a $5 million deal with like an incentive that every 5 games he plays, he gets $500,000 in a contract, or $1 million or something like that. Like a contract that's base of 5 that can get up to 10 if he plays all the games, something like that I'd be okay with. But past that, no. Why is ABT? I don't know what's going on with the injury stuff with the coaches. I'm seeing a lot of like arguing about it, but I don't have time to get it all. Most hateable team this year, definitely the Pats. Sure. It sucks that they had Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, and they went to 2 years of suffering, as their fan base says, to then only go to Vrabel and Drake May. That's annoying to watch. So yeah, I guess so. Oh, so Freedom House is disagreeing with somebody who's saying injuries are because of coaching. I guess I'm reading. So you're defending. I'm with you. I think Freedom House. I just don't know who you're arguing with. There's a lot of chats in here, so I can't like see what's going on. I did so many chats about it. How many first round picks are we willing to trade? None. Me personally, none. If the Jets do it because they love them, fine. But me personally, I'm not. Joe, what about Clemens? What about him? You're talking about like a rotational D-end? I think he's a D-end 4, D-end 5. Like, I think he went from absolutely miserable to being somewhat okay at times. I think people maybe under or overrate how good the talent is on other teams in terms of like D-end 3, 4, 5. Is he a rosterable player in the NFL? Yes. Do I want him back on the Jets? No. Is that fine to say? Why did ADG hurt coach? What is going on right now? Can somebody comment like after? Is somebody like follow this injury talk? What is going on? I've never been like more out of the loop with what's going on. Charles Gorman with hello, Joe Blewett. My name is Charles A. Gorman. I'm a friend of Jake Asman and Nick Shine. I met your father-in-law, Greg Palmer, at Bazaar and St. Mary's School in Middletown. Oh shit, it's Craig Palmer, but yes, that is my father-in-law. So nice to see you. I think I've seen you in here before, Charles. But if not, yeah, that's my father-in-law. How did you know that though? How did you know that Craig Palmer was my father-in-law? Interesting, Charles. I would like you to follow up with this. Tell me more about that situation. But friend of Jake Asman, as am I. I'm actually jumping on his show Oh shit. Well, please tell me it's not. Okay, it's 5:27. So I like 2 more minutes. But let me know more, Charles. I'm very interested in how you met him and how you know he's my father-in-law. Unless you're like, hey, I'm a Jets fan and I listen to podcasts, and then somehow I came up. I don't know. But interesting. Are you from the area, Charles? Are you from Middletown? Which people are weird about that. Like, oh, I won't say the town I live in. Like, there's like 40,000 people in Middletown. Do I think any of you guys are going to find me in Middletown somehow, even if you wanted to? Probably not. Probably not. Actually, if you really wanted to, you probably could, but okay. Joe, there's a dude who claimed that AG solved the Jets' injury problem and essentially blamed Saleh for the injuries over the years. That's why he's been getting cooked. Okay, yeah, it's not. Again, you can injure players by forcing them, but it is what it is. I gotta jump to another stream in 2 minutes, so I appreciate you guys. Check out the reviews. JoRB31 on Twitter put up a ton of plays. The plays are still getting out because they're scheduled. I'll be on Jake's show, so make sure to jump over there. I think I'm gonna do some. I forget what film I'm gonna do, but I'm gonna do some type of film. I appreciate you guys. I'll be back next week.